Hello everybody, Viperkeeper here. I have a large topic which I'm going to try to condense into a small amount of space and not ramble as Lori kindly put it just a few minutes ago. Speaking of Lori, she's doing much better adapting to the medications, although it still knocks her on her ass. In October, she will have a procedure done that will hopefully improve the situation and correct the problem. Okay, so that's your Mrs. Viperkeeper update. The real reason why I'm doing this video is to support my my friends and people I consider family at the Kentucky Reptile Zoo. They're being maligned by individuals on their Google Maps rating system. People who haven't been to the zoo are giving them poor ratings because of a different circumstance altogether. So, to give you an idea, an individual in South Carolina last Friday morning, I believe, was bitten by an inland taipan, which is essentially well known as the most venomous snake on the planet. This individual commonly free handles all sorts of venomous snakes and posts them on his Facebook page. I'm not going to get into names or anything like that. Regardless, he took a bite and was immediately pleading for a source of anti-venom. As you know, I keep a personal stock of anti-venom, including anti-venom for Australian snakes, which of course the taipans are. And because, you know, I kept and bred a number of Papuan taipans, I kept actually quite a lot. So, plea went out to get anti-venom. Anti-venom was flown in from Venom 1 in Florida, which really hasn't been terribly active and sort of defunded by Miami-Dade. So they only had 3 vials left, and some came from another source in North Carolina, and that was another couple of vials. But as Sean Bush aptly coined, time is tissue. It took 12 hours before anti-venom had arrived at the South Carolina hospital where this individual was on various life support systems. Taipan venom attacks 4 or 5 or so more major organ systems in your body. There's pre- and post-synaptic neurotoxins, there's cardiotoxins, there's hemorrhagens, there's nephrotoxins, there's myotoxins. All this is, you know, in a snake that, although humans aren't mice, the lethal dose 50 for 1 drop of taipan venom is 250,000 mice. So it's a very potent venom. So it took an excessive 12 hours before he got anti-venom. So the venom did quite a lot of damage. He's still with us. The venom docs got things under control once the anti-venom was administered. However, one of the common problems from a bite from this snake is you go into renal failure, and this seems to be the case in this instance. So, Kentucky Reptile Zoo was not even asked to supply anti-venom because they had procured what they believed to be enough to treat the bite. However, long ago, the Kentucky Reptile Zoo had announced that they would not supply anti-venom to reckless individuals that free-handled snakes didn't use the proper tools, and this, it wasn't what we call a natural bite or an accidental bite. This was just, trying to pick up the snake with your bare hands, which I've seen parts of the videos he put, and knowing Taipans as well as I do, the snake was rattling its tail. It was not a happy snake, and it was really foolish to think that you could actually free handle one of these snakes. There may be snakes that you can free handle, but it is quite like Russian roulette. There's a round in one of the cylinders of the revolver. You spin it, and you never know if that round is going to be behind the hammer when it comes down. And that's essentially the same as free handling. You never know when the snake mood will change, or you do something that frightens the snake and you end up getting bit. Many keepers will go through the trouble, like myself, to procure their own stock of anti-venom. I have anti-venom for every snake in my collection, even when it was quite large. And there were certain snakes that didn't have a specific anti-venom, but we at least had what would be a close substitute for it. I may not have had a full dose of some anti-venoms to treat an entire bite. However, I had enough anti-venom on hand to get it into my body in about an hour or less, so it minimized the damage that the snake venom would do waiting for follow-on anti-venom. And since this individual went 12 hours after being envenomated before he got anti-venom, there was quite a lot of damage done. Okay, so that's the history behind it. However, his followers on his page have decided to take it out on the Kentucky Reptile Zoo by spamming their Google website, giving them terrible reviews and ratings. And I'm asking each and every one of you, my fans, who have followed me throughout the years, to go to Google Maps, type in Kentucky Reptile Zoo, and go ahead and leave them a positive review, even if you haven't been there, because most of these people spamming them have never been there either. Show your support for my friends at the Kentucky Reptile Zoo, who are only protecting their own employees. So, this stuff is rare, and they have a staff of keepers that handled a very large venomous collection, clean cages and such, and they made the choice that they would protect themselves and their families, and their employees rather, than to send antivenom off to a case where a reckless individual brought this all on himself, and it wasn't an accidental bite. It was a bite born in machismo. You know, he had an ego, thought he could, in his own words, control the snake, and he found out that he really couldn't, and this is very foolhardy. So it's just his fan people, his followers, have this entitled mentality that every organization that has antivenom should give it up to an individual who needs it. Just like that. And a lot of times the Kentucky Reptile Zoo in the past has given out antivenom, and they've never been repaid for it. It's never been replaced. And this is the same case with a lot of zoos out there. The antivenom never gets paid for, never gets replaced, and very rarely they even get a thank you from the person that they saved their lives. So even a lot of zoos are turning off the spigot of the antivenom supply to individual keepers. So imagine if someone knocked at your door and said, because I desperately need your car, I'm taking your car, I'm not returning it, and I'm not paying for it. That's the same mentality these people have about institutions' antivenom supplies. You have it, I desperately need it, therefore you must give it to me. Otherwise, we will treat you unfairly, unkindly, and we'll do this in a public forum. It's not right. Jim and Kristen have always treated keepers who follow good procedures and take precautions very, very fairly and friendly. I've known them for many years. They're not evil, bad people like these individuals from this particular page are painting them, and they don't deserve this. So I'd like to close by asking you to go to the Kentucky Reptile Zoo, Google Maps sort of web page, and give them a positive review for standing up to their values that every venomous keeper should withhold these values. And a final word for the venomous keepers that follow me. There's now a anti-venom support group on Facebook. I'm a member. Many of my friends and people who are legitimate keepers are members there. And for newbies who are interested in procuring their own antivenom for their foreign snake, there's really no reason to procure antivenom for your domestic snake because that's readily stocked by local hospitals and such, and is easy to come by. Foreign antivenom, like replacing the supply of Taipan antivenom, won't happen. If the order is placed today, they won't see the antivenom until January or February. So the whole southeastern United States is sort of exposed with no antivenom now for Taipans, and there's a number of Taipans out there in collections. So for those keepers that want to do it right, and they want to procure their own foreign antivenin, the Antivenin Support Group on Facebook will help you walk through the paperwork and get your FDA BBIND number as well as your USDA APHIS permit so you can import your own antivenin. Jim and Kristen at the Kentucky Reptile Zoo many times have imported for other zoos and individuals. She makes a blanket large order, the antivenin comes in, and then basically reships out the participants who have sent them the money for the antivenin and whatever the shipping and handling fees are. And this is the way, you know, a real venomous keeping community works. Not like this individual in South Carolina and his followers. So I really hope you take the time to go to the website and give them a positive review, support their position, and stand up to the entitled individuals who don't want to go through filling out a few pieces of paper, a few forms, and spending some of their own money in purchasing and storing their own antivenin. I hope I didn't ramble too long, but I wanted to make this video in support of my friends and colleagues at the Kentucky Reptile Zoo. They've helped me when I've needed help. Now I'm trying to help them in the public space because they're taking a bad rap for the correct decision. Thank you very much.